Hello, this is Jim, W4JBM. I wanted to try something a little different, a little fast-paced today. 5 hints in 5 minutes. So the first hint, this is a method of construction I use a lot. I use a wood base and then mount the parts on it. These resistors, this is an audio dummy load, but the resistors here are actually held in place. So this is hint number 1. With weather strip nails. These are copper plated. They're 3/4 inch long, so you can drive them in. They're very mechanically stable, and because they are copper clad, they hold and take copper very well. So then we look at the terminal strip, and we come to hint number 2. A lot of these things I need some kind of spacer, or maybe I need a spacer for a circuit board that I'm mounting in some kind of enclosure. I always seem to be running out, so what I found was that I could make my own. I travel a lot with work and pick up pins at hotels. They tend to last a week or two before they die. This is a copper tubing cutter. I can score them with that, and it doesn't work well for cutting them, but I can score them and get a consistent length and then cut them with a sharp knife and basically have a lifetime supply of spacers with just a few pins. Number 3 is about wire ties. So if you're using a bunch of wire ties on a project and you're having to rework things, you may find that you have to cut wire ties and replace them and pull something out. So here we see the wire tie comes around and it's been looped up through there. If I cut it right before where it looped in, I can pull that out, and actually this part is still reusable. I can put that in, and it's smaller now, so I can't hold as large of a bundle, but it is workable. So if you do get into an issue where you've got a couple of these and you need them longer, you can actually put wire ties in series, I guess you would call it, where you feed them back to back, and I do that often too when I need a larger wire tie than the wire ties that I have. Hint number 4, if you're working on a circuit board and you need to clear the solder from a hole for some reason, I've got a circuit board here. Say I need to open up one of these pads. You can use a traditional solder probe, and I do that a lot, and it works. But one of the things I found is that when I use a traditional solder probe, a lot of times it's almost like a volcano-shaped area that's left by the solder. So what I do sometimes is use a toothpick, and I actually started doing this when I was a kid before I had soldering tools. But you can use a toothpick and still heat the pad, push the toothpick down through, and since the toothpick doesn't heat up, what I found is that it seems like the solder more flows into an area where you got bumps on each side. So if you've pulled a transistor to test and you're trying to reinstall it and have short leads, it's much easier, I have found, to use something like the toothpick and have this type of topology to deal with the lead and resoldering than it is to use a traditional pick and have the other topology and try and resolder on that. So hint number 5. Another thing that I find that I need a lot is some type of insulation to run over the lead of some component or another. So I used to buy a lot of spaghetti tubing, but these days what I do is save. I've got a couple resistors here, but I save when I strip the wire of larger gauges, like this came off of a speaker wire or a small power lead. I save that, and I can actually feed that over the leads of most transistors and smaller resistors. So that lets me, here's an example of where I've put that in to protect it from some of the other leads and keep it from shorting. So this is basically a free source of spaghetti tubing and insulation for you. So I think I made the 5 in 5 minutes. If you like it, I always appreciate likes, and I also appreciate subscribes. Hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot.